Good afternoon, everyone. This is Anne Marie. I wanted to do an afternoon report. And you know, I don't do these videos in the afternoon because my brain essentially is a piece of mush after the end of the day, most of the time. And today, no different. So, I don't know. I'm on version 3 of this particular recording, but I do think it's important for us to pay attention to this right here and see what it is that we've got on the horizon. Now, I showed this 41.4 fib, and it was right here. We did fail it and came into this event right here, this wick action, which we also really did talk about, and held it. Now, this is an emotional candlestick, and by emotional candlestick I mean a large one that's either coming after a gap or just in itself is very, very big. Those have a tendency to retrace. What do I mean by that? Exactly that. All emotional candlesticks retrace. Now, how long it takes it to retrace, I consider this to be an emotional candlestick, right? It's significantly larger than its friends nearby. All right, look at how long it takes this one to retrace. Yeah, pretty long time. Look at this one. That's also a very big candlestick. It takes that long to retrace and then some. That actually is maybe what, 127.2 or 150 of this original wave event. And then this is an emotional candlestick, and there it is. It retraces. So bottom line, should have given you enough evidence. Emotional candlesticks retrace. How long is the operative question? Because this candlestick was made in September and it did not fully retrace until October the 23rd. So, what are we thinking about here? Well, we have a pretty good sized wick, so it does seem to be that a lot of folks were waiting at this 139-ish level. And on the 4-hour chart, we still see a lot of damp action to the downside. None of this looks pretty at all. And so if we take a look at the hourly chart, and I mean pretty in terms of any kind of bullish notions we might have, here it is right here. We can see it gapping up into the base of the channel and then pulling back, right? And then pressing forward, because this candlestick actually opens up down here and then pulls up into this measure at 3 o'clock, right? And then, you know, gaps down at the 4 o'clock hour. So here we are sitting right here. Now this is customarily a failed test of a channel. So if we have a failed test of a channel, we should have downside momentum unless we make a higher low. So if we have a higher low here, it's going to telegraph a move into the channel once more. This channel, good night. So where would we be going? Probably to the midpoint of the channel or the open of the gap, which is 141.65. We also have a little noise action here, which could be 141. So from this perspective, we've got just a couple of things that we need to keep our eyes on for tomorrow. How well do we do on the bounce? Now, it should be, we should be bouncing, but again, we could be bouncing into really solid resistance, because what we're in the middle of doing is retracing a much larger wave, which in the end could come all the way back to much lower levels than this, right? Now the 50% is, let's move back so we've got that gap event looked at. If it fails this 39, it really is going to hit the top of the gap. If it falls into the gap, I don't think it's going to pay attention to this fib very much at all. It might come in here. That's something else, 137.61. That's also a relevant support region overall. Let's go ahead and put something there just in case. Right? There we go. looks terrific. Somewhere around that region right there. All right. That's certainly what I am thinking as the plan of action. You know, for those of us that trade a lot, when we see aggressive candlesticks like this, and they come out of the ordinary, or when we don't really expect it, which I did not expect this kind of savage move. I'll just be flat out and tell you. Certainly it breaks the levels. You go, okay, all right, well, that obviously is a short. But you're always expecting it to bounce, so you can never really take a full size. Or speaking personally, in the live trading environment, that ends up being my worry, right? Because I don't want it to rip my face off in the other direction, so I'm either very small or I just sit and wait for it to retrace. So what do we have here in the long run? We've got action that looks very negative, but we are sitting at a holding pattern. And I'll go back to the 1 hour very, very quickly. We can see that what we're doing here is lifting in this measure. Now, we certainly were lifting over here and failing over there and then lifting over here. So the lift does not mean anything but a rise into potential resistance. It does not mean reversal. All right, so that's what we'll be looking for. Remember, you've got this high here that's really a failure of this channel event, pulling back into a higher low. If we fail this 139.70 area, yeah, it's a short. It would be a short, especially if you have a candlestick close underneath this 139.70. We're definitely going to have shorting action. Other than that, we'll have ourselves a move into resistance, and then we'll have to make another decision on what it is that we need to do. If we pop back up here into the channel, oh, that's going to be the pits, right? If we hold the midpoint of the channel, we will go back to the top of the channel. If we fail the midpoint of the channel, we will go back to the bottom of the channel. That's what's most likely. All right? Good luck trading tomorrow. That's our recap, though. Not any, don't need to hit the panic room yet. We are just in a space of natural retracement. All right? A little damage has been done, certainly, but overall, sitting at a relative support region.